This is a story about how I built a beautiful pond and oasis for my chickens and the surrounding wildlife just because I was annoyed at having to constantly fill up their water jug. One thing I've realized with animals, if you treat them well, they will treat you well. I don't want my chickens to live a life cooped up in a box. I want them to enjoy their lives, and my family can then reap the benefits of healthy and happy livestock. So let's get started. Just over a month ago, my family and I sold our house with the pretty yard and moved to this property nestled in the Florida jungle. One of the first things that I had to do was figure out a solution for my chickens. At the moment, they were living in my garage, wreaking absolute havoc, pooping all over the place, and it was mandatory to get them out as fast as possible. So I needed to build a coop. Now, I'm not exactly the handiest person, but I'm trying to learn and I'm willing to figure things out. So I was going to build a coop, and I didn't want to follow any plans because I wanted to really learn what I was doing. So I headed off to Home Depot and spent about $350 on lumber, and then everything else was scrap material I had sitting around the house. It's time to start building a coop to get these chickens out of the garage, and then eventually we'll get to our oasis. My plan for this chicken coop is to keep it as straightforward as possible. So I'm cutting out 4 legs that are going to elevate off the ground, and this is just going to be a square framed coop. So I'm going to build 4 legs and then build a square frame to build everything around.
I'm in the middle of making this coop, and I just heard such a loud owl directly over my head, which is not good. And not good news for my chickens. Oh, it is. Shh. Where is it? My dogs hear it too. Point. It sounds like it's in this pine tree. I do not see it.
With our square now assembled, it was time to take it back to where I was going to be starting the coop. I laid the square down as kind of my base guide, and I'm going to begin screwing in the 4x4 posts that are going to elevate this off the ground. With the frame now mounted onto the legs, it was time to build our walls. So I cut 4 2x4s with slight angles in them, and 2 sets were 46.5 inches and 2 sets were 43.5 inches. So there's a slope for rain to come off the roof.
These things are absolute menaces. What are you doing in here? There's no food in here, I promise. Beat it, son. Yeah, the chickens are gonna go in here. Nice. Yeah. Boom. Definitely helping. I appreciate it. Okay. Now watch. Ready? Now we gotta kind of sandwich this. Oh. All right. You nailed it.
I did it.
Yeah, we built the top side of our frame.
With the frame now set in place with help from my wonderful assistant, it was time to make nesting boxes. These are going to be where our chickens lay their eggs, but it's also going to provide additional support to the structure. So I'm going to make 3 nesting boxes that are going to be squares that are put inside of one large rectangle that's going to be nailed frame to frame and help provide support, and also a great place for our chickens to lay their eggs.
Oh, heck yeah.
There's something so satisfying about working with your hands, and even if you make mistakes, that's okay. Not having plans was part of the plan. I wanted to learn how to do this the right way, not just blindly follow instructions. And it's nice to have family who wants to help and get involved, from my sons to my old man stopping by to help hold some plywood while I frame things up. A lot of what we used in this project was extra cedar siding from my old house, and so I used it to make a lot of the latches, the backs, and it looked just really, really nice.
Oh, a bada bing, bada boom.
Another way I drastically cut down the cost of this build was using chicken wire and the cedar siding to frame out windows instead of actually buying windows. For a lot of this project, I used just hammer, nails, or a screw and drill, and it was at this moment I remembered I had a brad nailer in my garage. Super convenient, and what probably cut down the most cost of this whole build for me is that the old owner of this house actually left behind a ton of metal paneling, so I didn't have to buy any roof paneling, and I just used roofing nails to frame it in. I used a few strips of wood to make a ladder for my chickens, and I cut a ton of blocks out and just used it as a guide so I didn't have to measure over and over again to make sure all of the ladders were evenly spaced.
Oh wow, look at this. So it law.
It was finally time to start painting. My kids helped prime the coop the day before, and all of the other paint I'm going to be using is just leftover paint from different projects. With the majority of the coop painted, it was time to really start putting some finishing touches on this coop. So I decided today I wanted to paint some trim and also build out a hanging flower box. And once again, just using scrap wood. This is actually leftover trim from our old house. I tried hanging a variety of vining plants around the coop to grow that I thought would look really pretty, but I'll be honest, it was a mistake. The chickens ripped them down in under a single day. It's far from perfect, but I'm thrilled with how the coop turned out. I spent less than $500 and used a ton of scrap wood I had laying around and built a nice elevated coop for my chickens. We're blessed with a bit of land, and so the chickens get to free roam and aren't going to be confined to a small area, so I didn't have to build a big run. But this is only the beginning. And now starts our pond saga. I thought I was being clever when I found this $15 liner from Home Depot. I lost all the footage, which works out because this pond ended up being a total disaster. Turns out this little liner might not have even been worth $14.
I was just working at my little office, detached office. For those who don't know, I used to kind of do full-time fishing videos on YouTube, and right now, while transitioning to doing more of this style of content, I'm picking up some production work on the side, filming, editing for other people. So I stepped out of my office, take a breather, get some fresh air, walked out to my pond, and it is like 2/3 of the way drained. So we either have a leak in the liner itself, the little cheap blue liner, which wouldn't surprise me, or leaking out of the fountain up top, which also wouldn't surprise me. So we are gonna have to do some serious changes. I think it's all gonna be for the better, but right now we need to find a temporary solution while I wait for a new liner to come, which I've already ordered, because the chickens need consistent water, and I don't want the mollies and mosquito fish and top minnows that are in here to die. So we gotta do some stuff. I have this barrel right here that I was actually going to do like a little patio pond with out of this, and thankfully I have not used it for anything, so it's empty. This will be a great container to hold the fish in the meantime and for the chickens to get some water. But I'm going to dig it probably halfway deep so it's not hard for the chickens to drink out of in the time being. And I can just set the solar pump in here and it'll be fine and cranking. And this should be a good solution for the next 2 or 3 days while I get a much better pond situation and really build out this oasis here for these chickens. So. There we go. I have learned, and I have to constantly remind myself, I should say it's a learning process, that cheaper is rarely ever the better option. There's a reason things cost more money and are nicer. It's because they hold up better or they work better. If you really want to save money and do things cheaper, it's using nice things and learning how to do them yourself. You save the money and the labor and paying for the knowledge by learning. Right now, I thought I was being really clever by buying a $16 blue plastic pond liner that in under 3 days of being in the ground has already come and bit me in the behind. So we're gonna make some fixes here. I was originally setting out to make like a cheap little chicken pond, and now I think we're gonna turn this into a bit of an oasis because they deserve it. If we treat them nice, they treat us nice and give us lots of eggs to feed my family. So let's get this remedy. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so the hose, the inflow pipe, I purposely kinked it and brought it here. We're gonna use it to siphon all the water from in here into here. And then I'm gonna use the pump itself to pump the water from the pond into this. That way, the fish already have treated water and they're used to this water, and we don't run any risk of that, of having to fill this up with a hose a ton and killing the fish that we're trying to save. All right, we've got the bulk of the fish out. Here's the problem. Mosquito fish are ovoviviparous, or they're a live bearer, which means they actually give birth to live young. They don't lay eggs like most fish. They technically have eggs, but they develop inside the female and then they're hatched out live. And so some of these mosquito fish that I caught must have been bearing or pregnant, because there is actually a lot of tiny little, like, microscopic mosquito fish fry swimming around in here, but they are too small to even get into this tiny little dip net here. So I went and found this tiny little micro aquarium that I'm going to scoop the fish out with and transport them so we don't leave anything in here to croak. There's 2 in here. I mean, they are so tiny. I'm super glad I took that time to catch all those mosquito fish out. I thought there was maybe 4 or 5. I ended up scooping out 11, and I can still see that there's like 3 or 4 more in there that I'm just having a hard time getting. So I'm gonna wait and come back and try them again later. But, you know, I probably only caught 15 minnows to begin with, and there's close to that many fry in there. So just by saving the fry, we kind of effectively doubled our population of fish, which is really cool. It's still theoretical and stupid, but, you know, I googled how many mosquito larvae a year would a single mosquito fish eat, and obviously there'd have to be this many, but, you know, they can eat anywhere to between 10,000 and, you know, 30,000 mosquito larvae a day, a year, basically. So, you know, 10 mosquito fish eat 100,000 mosquitoes a year. That makes me feel better. Pond liner, underlaying mat. Let's do this. This whole area is a hot freaking mess, so it's time to get to work. It is hot out. It's a small pond, but still a lot of effort here. So here's our layout right there. That will be the headwaters where the waterfall is. I'm gonna cut that differently. I'm gonna make a cut in that to make it like a waterfall, not a little standpipe. We're also improving the size of the pump on this. Here we have upper layer, lower layer, and you might not be able to tell on the camera, but these are actually intentionally uneven. The right side is higher than the left side. That way, the water is going to be shallower over here, so the chickens can drink easier from this side than opposed to the deeper cut side. A small basin here if fish want to hide from predators, or if I decide to throw a little bit bigger of a fish in here, like a bluegill or something like that, or a small bass. But it's going to try to be a natural creek. Water will run down through here and kind of just flow gently into this pond. And I got to decide where my pump is going to go to suck water back up to the top of the cycle. I have, total side note, I have very large legs and people always comment. It's cool, I got strong legs, I can lift a lot, I can actually run really fast. I am just like in a constant state of busting out the crotches of pants and underwear and stuff like that. I lean down to work on this geotextile for this pond thing, and Literally ripped the thing from tip to taint. Alright, had to change clothes because I ripped my pants and the other shirt was so sweaty. Went to the store and bought a new pump and tubing because this solar pump is just literally not gonna work for this size of a setup. And then I went and bought 20 bags of river rock. Hopefully that's enough. Let's start filling this thing in with some rock. I always joke around with my wife. It's unfortunate, sometimes fortunate, I have a body made for manual labor and a brain that's made for like creative dilly-dallying. Building a pond scratches both of those itches, you know? Some good manual labor and some good creative working. Expanding foam in there, and then drizzle some rocks on top of it. And this should lock those rocks in place and also fill in a ton of that space. Okay, we're doing pretty good. I think I've moved like 1,000 pounds of river rock by hand and dug a big giant hole. It's good, clean fun. I got 6 bags of small river rock left, and we're looking pretty good. There might be some black spaces seen or visible. I'm gonna see what I can do. And we can do some trimming here. I need to make our fountain or our waterfall, basically, where our water is gonna shoot out. It's gonna be coming from a flower pot that I cut in half that's gonna be full of lava rock, pouring out into this little river, into the pond. Kodak. Leave it, leave it. I am in total disbelief right now. It's been a month living here. Kodak, stop, get away. Leave it, get away. I'm telling you, get away. That is a box turtle. He's completely shut up. Kodak, leave him alone. But I cannot believe that. I cannot tell you how much joy that fills me with. That is so incredible to have a box turtle on the property. That must mean he lives somewhere on this property. I had no idea. That's so great, man. That's what a cool thing. Seems extremely fitting that I almost had the pond done last night and then it just like biblically poured all morning. I didn't have it filled up with water. I have not checked on it yet, so I'm a little nervous, but we'll see. What up, chicken fries? Well, the river's full of water. There doesn't seem to be any bubbling.
While it was really exciting to see water in the pond, and once I put the pump in and water started running, it became very apparent that we had problems.
I mean, there's no way a ton of that water isn't escaping. It's not running very well. It's just like pouring right down the seam. I don't know, on my head I thought this would shoot out more. There's no way water isn't escaping behind there. Alright, I'm just pumping the water, all this dirty water, out over there into the grass while I figure out a solution for this, because I'm just going to make the assumption that I'm going to lose water and it's going to get underneath all of this if it's just slowly ambling over it. So I need to take some of this pond liner, wrap it over that so it comes out away from the bucket.
My current problem is that the water is running right down the edge of the liner, and I know that I'll lose water over time. So I took some plumber's putty and basically built a blade of a waterfall for it to have the water shoot off a little bit more. And while this did work and was helping a bit, I was still going to be losing some water on the underside, and this actually ended up revealing another problem entirely. It's one of the beauties about not having a plan is that you have ultimate creativity to change things around, but also if you don't think things through properly, stuff falls through the cracks, literally. What I found incredible while just constructing the pond is how much small wildlife was starting to come around and just check out the sound of running water.
Houston, we have a problem. I was trimming trees and I wear my wife's headphones because I don't have any. We're losing water in this pond. It has to, I'm just assuming it's not in the bulk like liner part itself. It has to be either in the fountainhead or somewhere along the river. So we're gonna dig it up.
I had two pieces of overlapping pond liner, and I realized that I had made them too low, so water was seeping underneath that second level. So I had to take everything out and lift up the ground about a foot so water could get higher but wouldn't go underneath that second level and would just cascade down instead.
Alright, hose is concealed. So I'm really stoked with how everything's working out and how it looks. I'm really stoked with how this looks right now, but it doesn't look like it belongs in Florida, or particularly in the jungle. Florida, we don't have little tumbling rock rivers. We have cypress creeks. So we're gonna do a lot of planting and kind of accent work, almost like we're doing a planted aquarium, aquascape, and make this look a little more natural. And we're gonna lose a little bit probably that like stone mountain babbling brook feel, but replace it with a little more cypress creek and let it look a little more natural for one, the yard in general, and also the animals that are gonna use it. Let's see what we can do. Beauty of the jungle yard, not having to go to the store and buy plants. I just walked in my front yard and pulled up a ton of ferns. We're probably gonna do more. And this is a small, I believe a red berry stopper, a small tree that produces little red berries that are edible for birds. And this will eventually get bigger, but they don't get huge anyways. And this could be a perfect little backing piece right there. So we're gonna get planting. I'm using these cinder blocks, it's kind of like faux planters, to also give these trees some added height. I'm gonna cover this all up with dirt. But while they're little, and I'm still not totally certain on how I want the pond to look, I can actually just uncover them and pick up a cinder block and move it. Look at all this moss. This entire thing is just giant sheets of moss right here. All of this I pulled off of a single cabbage palm in my yard. And this is gonna make our pond feel lived in. Like it's not just a clump of rocks thrown down, but a creek that's been living here. Time for a semi-difficult part. I'm gonna release all these mollies and mosquito fish into this pond and hopefully not destroy everything, stir up all the water, and not kill any fish. This thing weighs 1 billion pounds.
The hard work was finally done, and it was time to sit back and watch this pond come to life. Quickly, the chickens already started to take advantage of it, and now we just need to wait for the plants to continue to fill out and grow in, and our fish to get more comfortable, and maybe we'll add more fish as time goes. As exciting as it was seeing it now, I couldn't wait to see what it looked like the following day once a lot of the debris and sediment had slowed down. The goal with this build was to create something that served my chickens and the wildlife in my yard well, while still looking beautiful and matching the jungle aesthetic of our entire yard. After a couple days, we received an enormous amount of rain every single day, and the pond has actually held up well and really has begun to settle in. The plants around it are starting to thrive, and I know this will only get more beautiful as time goes on. As the plants begin to grow and dirt fills in the spaces between the rocks, it'll really become just a beautiful creek. The whole idea was for it to look like a reclaimed structure, almost like a spillway that has been taken back over by wildlife. A few things had to be changed around the chicken coop, but overall I'm just so ecstatic with how the build turned out. I had to take out all the flowers out of that hanging flower bed, not because the chickens were eating them, but because they kept laying eggs in them and hopping up and smashing them down, which I don't mind, but I replaced them with ferns, so if they want to lay eggs, they can go up there and smash the ferns down instead of the flowers. I also added this electric Bluetooth door that is a total lifesaver if you have chickens. It has a light panel up front, so it opens and closes automatically at sunrise and sunset, so you don't have to go outside and let the chickens out. And you can also program it on a timer if you want on your phone, and it just runs off of a couple batteries, and you can open and close it whenever you want just using an app on your phone. Like, truly amazing, and I'll put a link for it down in the description. I couldn't be happier with this, and my goal going forward is maybe to continue to expand this area for the chickens and also whatever future animals might call this home. There's a lot of different things I want to do to this property, and this is just a tiny little pond, but it gave me a lot of ideas and tastes for the future of the giant pond we plan building on this property. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe and like the video to join along to this new adventure and this channel. I appreciate you guys for watching. Until next time, peace.